Let's talk about the invisible lock that protects pretty much everything you do online. It's called the Advanced Encryption Standard, or AES. You can think of it as the silent guardian of our digital lives, and today we're going to pop the hood and see exactly how this thing works.
I mean, really think about it. Every single time you send a private message, or check your bank balance, or just connect to your home Wi-Fi, you're putting a ton of trust in the system, right? You're trusting that no one is snooping on that information. But how? Well, it's not magic, but it's close. It's a process called encryption, and AES is basically the master key to the whole kingdom.
All right, let's get into it. You know, as the world moved online, we suddenly had this huge new problem. How do we keep all this data that's flying around secure? We needed some kind of universal, super trustworthy digital lock for all of our information.
See, the old standard, something called DES, well, it was getting a little long in the tooth. It was designed back in the 70s, and its keys were just too short. By the 90s, modern computers could actually crack them. So the world was on the hunt for a replacement, a totally new kind of digital lock that could protect our secrets for decades to come.
So, how do you find the world's best new encryption algorithm? You hold a contest. Seriously. The U.S. National Institute of Standards and Technology, that's NIST, put out a call to cryptographers all over the world and basically said, show us what you've got. And after years of absolutely brutal public testing, one algorithm rose to the top of the pile. It was called Rijndael. It was designed by two Belgian cryptographers, Joan Damon and Vincent Riemann, and it was just beautiful. It was strong, it was fast, and it was secure. It won the competition, and it got a new name, the Advanced Encryption Standard, or AES. And just look at this timeline. This wasn't some quick, backroom decision. We're talking about a 5-year process where 15 different designs were publicly attacked, picked apart, and debated by the smartest minds in the field. That whole open and transparent process is a huge part of why everyone trusts AES so much today. And if you need any more convincing that this thing is the real deal, well, here you go. This is the NSA, one of the most security-obsessed organizations on the entire planet, giving AES its official blessing. It's the only publicly available cipher they have ever approved for protecting top-secret information. I mean, that's about as big a vote of confidence as you can possibly get. Okay, so we know it's trusted, we know it's tough, but how does this digital lock actually work? Let's take a peek inside the AES machine. It's not just a simple twist of a key. It's this incredibly complex, multi-step process.
So, imagine your data, let's say it's a piece of a message you're sending, gets arranged into this simple 4x4 grid of bytes. AES calls this grid the state, and what it does is it takes this state and puts it through a whole series of intense transformations, scrambling it again and again and again until it's totally unrecognizable.
Each round of this scrambling process has these 4 distinct moves. Think of it like a 4-hit combo in a video game. First up, you've got SubBytes, where every little piece of data gets swapped for a different one using a secret lookup table. Then comes ShiftRows, where the rows in the grid are literally shifted out of place. Third is mixed columns, where all the data in each column gets all mixed up together. And then, the final, most crucial step, add round key, where a part of your secret key gets mixed into the grid, changing everything. And this is where the magic really happens. AES doesn't just do that 4-step combo once. It does it over and over again, in what it calls rounds. And with every single round, your data gets exponentially more scrambled. It's like twisting a Rubik's Cube again and again, but way, way more complex. So this brings us to the million-dollar question, right? After all this scrambling and mixing, just how strong is this lock? I mean, if it's protecting our deepest secrets, we really need to know that it's basically unbreakable.
The strength of AES really boils down to 2 things: the size of the secret key and the number of those scrambling rounds we just talked about. And it's a pretty simple relationship. The longer the key, the more rounds of scrambling you get. So, a 128-bit key goes through 10 rounds, while the beefiest 256-bit key gets put through a grueling 14 rounds. More rounds equals way more security.
So, what does a 12-bit key even mean? Well, it means the number of possible keys you could have is 2 to the power of 128. And this number, it's just so mind-bogglingly huge, our brains can't really even process it. We're talking about 340 times undecillion. That's a 340 with 36 zeros after it.
To put that number in perspective, trying to just guess the key, which is what we call a brute force attack, is completely, totally, utterly impossible. Even if you had the fastest supercomputer on Earth today, it would take you billions upon billions of years to try every single combination.
The universe itself would probably end long before you ever found the key. So, when you hear about cryptographers breaking a cipher, it's really important to know what they mean. In their world, a theoretical break is any attack that is even a tiny, tiny bit faster than that impossible brute force search. It doesn't mean your data is suddenly vulnerable or that someone can actually read your messages.
So here's the bottom line, the most important takeaway. While researchers are always poking at AES trying to find these theoretical shortcuts, no one has ever found a practical, real-world attack against the full algorithm when it's used correctly. For all intents and purposes, your data is safe.
And that security is something you are relying on every single day, probably without even thinking about it. AES isn't just some abstract thing for computer scientists, it's the invisible workhorse of our entire digital world.
The Wi-Fi you're probably connected to right now, that's protected by AES. The little padlock you see in your web browser on secure sites? Yep, AES again. If you use a VPN or a secure messaging app like Signal or WhatsApp, if you've ever encrypted a hard drive or done online banking, you are using AES. It is, quite literally, everywhere. But what about the future? There's this big, scary thing on the horizon called quantum computing. And the fear is that these super powerful machines could break a lot of the encryption we use today. The good news? While the smaller key sizes of AES might be vulnerable, the 256-bit version is widely believed to be quantum resistant. It should still be strong enough to hold up.
Which leaves us with one last thing to think about. AES is, without a doubt, the master lock of our time. It's an absolute triumph of brilliant design and open collaboration. But technology never stands still. The race between the people who make the codes and the people who break them is never, ever over. So the real question isn't if we'll eventually need a new lock, but what that lock of tomorrow is even going to look like.